Hi, I'm Jay Priest, and welcome to video 2 of my senior thesis progress page, or senior thesis progress video series, rather. So, a couple things to talk about this video. I'm just going to basically go over some of the textures that I developed in the last video, the first video, and show the kind of final result that I've made after colorizing it and finishing that off. So basically, I finished off those rafters and created a end-piece texture for those rafters and incorporated them into the texture map that I already had developed. And I actually finished some more of the geometry for the actual farmhouse as well. I'll show you that in a minute in Maya. So basically, I used Substance Designer to go ahead and create, and actually I'm using Substance Designer a little bit differently now. So Substance Designer has the ability to clicking the wrong thing here, clicking Microsoft Expressions. Hold on, where is Substance Designer? Go ahead and open it. Alright, so I'm actually creating using Substance Designer exactly how it's supposed to be, how it was intended to be used. It was intended to be used as kind of a material editor and material exporter to Unity. So you can create your materials, and then even if you use image map files, Substance Designer will kind of package it in its own little kind of substance thing, which is very, very efficient, and you end up with very small sized memory-wise materials inside of Unity. So it's much more efficient on your draw calls and all. It has less of an impact on your performance to use just straight substance file materials or Substance Designer materials rather than using kind of Unity's blends and all that stuff. So essentially what I did was I created, exported, and this is just going to be for this material only. I exported all the image files and then kind of just made a substance file within Substance Designer and then imported it back into Unity as an actual substance. So now I have access to the size, the resolution, and even some, for this one I don't really, because there's not much procedural stuff being used for this particular material that I have access to inside of Unity. So, but in the future, you're able to kind of adjust all the attributes that you need to, like the noise, the randomization, all that kind of stuff. So that's a really handy tool. That's really, really for me, in terms of using Unity, that was my kind of barrier to entry. That what kind of scared me was that I was so used to UDK and being able to use the material editor to connect nodes and all that stuff in non-programming kind of ways, that I was like, oh, I don't really want to write a shader. I don't know how to write shaders, so I didn't really want to get involved in Unity. But Substance Designer really takes care of that and kind of frees artists to develop materials in a very visual kind of way, which is the way we work as artists. So that's really an awesome thing. It's an awesome feature. So I've got that. And now basically I just have to, in my last video, I think you remember, if you were paying attention, I had an issue with underneath one of my eaves. You could actually see underneath the eave. So I fixed all those. I kind of bridged that gap a little bit and added extra geometry. But then I was kind of left with the problem of, and actually this lighting is really bad on this, but you can kind of see weird areas where the texture doesn't match up. So it's just extruding isn't going to match up. So I need to actually lay out the UVs, and that's a simple job. That's something that every texture job needs, or every modeling job has. You have to lay out textures and UVs, and it's just kind of the pain of modeling. And I don't know. You call it a pain, but I kind of enjoy it in a way. It's almost like figuring out a puzzle or something. Anyways, just to do that, I'm just going to work just a real quick workflow of how I went ahead and laid out these UVs for the exported geometry that I made for the underside of this thatched roofing. So basically I just selected these faces that I added through the extrusion, extract them, create a separate piece of geometry, right? Go through here, and I kind of habitually hit the delete history key, or delete history option, just because it's a habit of mine when I know I don't need the history for anything. So okay, now I've kind of extracted that and I've isolated it in kind of UV space here. So I'm going to go ahead and select these UVs and split them up exactly like they're laid out on the top side here, so that they wrap around and actually look like they're one continuous piece of hay rather than just a extruded piece of geometry that takes up the entire span of the texture space for both sides of the roof. So basically all I'm going to do here is go ahead and extrude, or cut those UVs for the centerpiece there. Then select this shell here. Now I basically have three shells, since I separated those with the cut UV tool. So I'm going to move that, and then I'm going to stretch these both sides out here. So now I've got I've got this. I'm going to stretch that out so that it takes up half of the UV space, and then match that up best as possible. Bring that down. Almost done. Got this side almost done. Move on to the other side. Do the same thing. Oh. Stretch it out. Alright, almost done. Yeah, so I'm using Microsoft Expressions for my video capture software, and I'm only left with about 10 minutes of video capture, which, I mean, you know, whatever. It's free, so can't complain really. But it's actually a really low lag. So, anyways, there's that. Relayed that out. Let's take a look at how that fits together here. It looks like I have some issues on this one. Probably just go through here and fix that real quick. Match it up a little bit better. Bring that up. Otherwise, I think, yeah, for demonstration purposes, this will suit just fine. So I'll just go ahead and recombine that, complete the history, go through, and now since you've combined two different pieces of geometry, now you have two sets of UVs. So now everywhere I had one set of UVs, vertices. So now I've got two vertices everywhere where I should have one. So to correct that real quick, I'm just going to select all my vertices and make sure I know my tolerance is low enough that basically it shouldn't affect anything that isn't within just basically vertices that are right on top of each other. So all the vertices that are right on top of each other are just going to get merged into one vertice. I go back into here, I have two vertices selected there, and my display count, it looks like I have two vertices. So that looks like it's good. I've got it combined, I've got the merge vertices done, and everything looks perfect. Beautiful. That's good enough for now. What I'm going to do is kind of a final step is just select that kind of ring right there, and I'm just going to go through and soften the edges just to make it look like a little less like a hard edge. Two planes are, as those two planes are kind of rounded around, even though it's a very kind of hard edge geometrically, visually it looks like one's kind of smooth surface. So that as a final touch that fixes that. Delete history, and we're good there. So that's all. I'm going to go through and kind of treat the rest of these thatched roofs just exactly like that. So I've got that complete, and now I just need to, oh yeah, so my terrain, I actually have a script. I found a script, and I've linked the script on my website. It's on the thesis progress page, and it actually allows you to export all your Unity terrain into Maya so that you can develop kind of your assets around that terrain that you developed in Unity. And actually you can, if you're in Maya and decide that you want to sculpt the Maya sculpt geometry tool is good enough for your sculpt, you can actually export your Maya terrain back into Unity using a similar script located in the same place. It's just on the Unity wiki, and it's a very handy tool to be able to just do that kind of on the fly and whenever you need it. So the next step is just going to be utilizing Substance Designer a little bit more efficiently. So like I said, I'm brand new to Substance Designer, so I'm learning more about it every day. And the more I use it, the more I start to realize just how powerful of a tool it really is. Essentially with Substance Designer, in the future, what I'm going to be able to do is, and what I can do now, and what I actually have started to do, is just create materials within Substance Designer, save them as substances, and then import them directly into Unity. It's just a drag and drop type of deal, and you import it, and it brings that material in with all the attributes that you decide that you want. So if you want to be able to adjust noise on the fly or adjust randomization on the fly, you can do that, and it creates the material with your diffuse, your specular, and your normal. That way you don't have to embed your specular right into the alpha channel. It's amazing. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for my next video.